Morning, everybody. I'm Luke Sullivan with Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. We're just about 30 minutes north of, Denver, Colorado. Depending on traffic, we're right off Interstate 25. Real easy to find. We've got a ton of inventory on the lot. The trailer behind me has been videoed before. Coworker Michaela did an awesome job with this trailer. We're gonna go through it a little bit more today, and mostly just to focus on maybe a little bit more stuff that you should be looking at pre-trip before you hit the road with your trailer. As you're hooking up, some safety concerns, some safety things to think about when you're hitting the road. And especially, we see a lot of obviously beginners in the bumper pull style trailer. So a really good spot to start. If anybody has any questions, feel free, reach out to us and we can certainly answer those for you or help you get those answered. So we'll start right at the front of it. This is what we call a bumper pull trailer. Hooks onto what used to be the rear bumper, but now we have hitches specifically designed on our tow vehicles to hook up to these trailers. Everything has a weight rating, from this hitch to the tongue to our axles to our tires and to the hitch and the ratings on our truck as well. So keep that in mind. And then also we have multiple size balls that have multiple size connections depending on the trailer, depending on the manufacturer, depending on how it's built. A lot of our horse trailers that you'll see on our lot are 2 and 5/16 inch couplers. Most of the time it is stamped on the tongue itself of the trailer. So always be sure that you have a matching 2 and 5/16 inch ball if that's what's required of the trailer. So if you have a 2 inch and you say, oh yeah, I might be okay just to run down the road, please, it can still come disconnected even if you have the latch completely lasped and all your safeties in place. You can still have a disconnection there with an incorrect ball size, especially smaller than what you need. So most importantly, second after the ball size and getting your hitch connection there, really important, is you want to have your safety chains connected. If you ever do have any kind of failure, if for some reason by some fluke of an accident you did use the wrong size ball, you have these as your backup, your safety backup, to always keep you connected to your tow vehicle. And the idea behind the safety chains is you want to cross those under the tongue of your tow vehicle or your trailer as you have that connection. And that way it acts as a little bit of a cradle if there is ever a disconnection there and you've got those chains holding up the tongue of your trailer. And then with the proper use of our chains and our safety breakaway cable, this will pull out of our pin. You've got a small 12-volt battery service in there that'll activate and at full force lock up your trailer brakes. So that way you can maintain control of everything and you've got a positive way that you've got really good safety and backups on your backups. So nice to have that. Really important to ensure as part of your yearly maintenance that there is a small 12-volt battery service in all of these trailers. We talk about big 12-volt battery service so we can run interior lights and some accessories, fans, and that kind of stuff, but very different with this service. This is a completely separate service on every trailer that leaves the lot and enables you to have that emergency braking function if you need it. Now, that naturally charges from our 7-pin connection whenever we're towing, whenever we're plugged in to our tow vehicle. So this 7-pin does a lot of functions for us. First and foremost, it does all of our lighting, all of our turn signals, our brake lights, our running lights, our amber DOT lighting along the top rails. It does all of that, and it also acts as a function for our connection point for our brakes, our electric brakes in our trailer on our axles. So with the 7-pin, with a positive connection, with most of our modern day vehicles now, you have an integrated, with most of our modern day pickups at least, we have an integrated brake controller from the factory, and you have a setting 0 through 10, and so you can adjust the strength of the brakes and the force that you're putting to the brakes of your trailer. So a small little trailer like this, especially empty, could be very easy to lock up those wheels and tires on this trailer as well. So you always want to be sure that it's a fluid setting. When you add weight to it, you may need to increase that force. Depending on weather conditions too, you might want to think about that as well. But for the sake of your tires too, you certainly don't want to lock those up and get some flat spots in your tires. So you want to make sure you have it set just right. And that's a lot about feeling, but at the same time, there are some concepts that we can certainly help you with when you're first going down the road and help you get them dialed in and get that feel for them. So again, very important whenever you're hooking up to a trailer. You know, most of our modern day stuff now is all this 7-pin connection. With a lot of our newer trailers that are leaving the lot too, they're utilizing a reverse light as well. It's a really nice function, and it doesn't change anything in this. Still the same 7-pin connection. So that's the connection point between your tow vehicle and your trailer, and it's most important, obviously. You've got to have a positive connection. You've got to have the right size ball and equipment and hitch, and know your ratings too, know your numbers. So one other important piece up here is obviously our jack. This is our point of disconnect. We want to make sure, especially if you're unhooking in a field or on dirt or something like that, maybe consider utilizing also a 2x4 just to make your footprint a little bit bigger on this smaller trailer. You're not going to have a big issue with sinking into the mud. On some bigger trailers, you might want to spread out that weight just a little bit, but a little less about safety, a little more about convenience. If you are ever interested in adding an electric over hydraulic jack to your gooseneck, an electric jack to your bumper pull, makes life really easy. Press of a button, a little bit of added security with those two because they're keyed. So you have that ability to key them on and off and then pull that key out and take it with you, and nobody else has access to your trailer. So again, big points, a lot of important aspects with the connection point between your tow vehicle and your trailer, obviously. Now, we talk a little bit about pre-trip. Running down the side of this trailer, it's a stock combo. We do have a small tack in the front, and we're a straight wall stock combo on this. So we're talking a lot about safety. Forgive me if I try and sell the trailer a little bit too, but we do have a straight wall cut gate in the middle of this, and this trailer's been set up a bit uniquely. So when you're pre-tripping, there's a few more things to look at. Obviously, they've done some bracketry and some pinouts and stuff like that to obviously hold some gates and some panels, I assume. And so they've actually got some really nice ways, looks like, to secure everything as well. So part of your pre-trip, if you've got some, I would put some double-ended snaps in that to make sure it doesn't move. You've got a couple snaps in here, obviously holding some dividers and stuff like that in place. And then you've got a couple more back here, and check your bracketry as well. So consider that we're not just talking about our hitch and up. We're not just going to talk about axles and brakes and that kind of stuff and tires. But if you do have added accessories, especially if you're going to haul some pins or cattle gates or something like that on the side of this trailer, want to make sure they're secure while you're running down the road. So getting more into pre-trip, take a look at your tires every time. Whether it's sitting for a week or a couple months, I would absolutely, especially if you intend to go on a long road trip, suggest checking your tire pressure. That's the number one cause of tire failure, I think, is underinflation, and very easy for a trailer that sits for a long time to have, that has a slow leak and you wouldn't notice it at first. Very easy to have low tire pressure in one of these, and we don't have the monitors in most of them. It is an option we can always add for you, but most of them we don't have that monitor like we do in our car that we've gotten used to over the years. Flashes a little light and we can top our tires up. So a lot going on here. We want to check our tires, we want to check our pressure, we want to take a look at our tread. We want to make sure everything looks like it's wearing evenly. We want to make sure everything looks like normal, looks like new. You don't have any big bald spots, you don't have any big bubbles or anything like that. And then a lot of manufacturers, especially after a tire rotation or a tire change or any kind of maintenance, suggest rechecking the torque on your lugs after 100 miles or more. It just depends on the manufacturers and everything like that. So check your specs. But one thing to always keep in mind as well is make sure you've got a good connection there too. So you do have brakes within these axles. Our suggestion, depending on usage, is once a year, have a professional inspect them. Get these tires pulled off, get those brake jumps pulled off, have the internals and everything looked at. And as they do that, they're pulling your bearings apart. And because of that, we naturally re-grease those bearings, get a new set of grease in there, and bearings if need be, and seals as well. So important seal between the back of that brake drum and your bearings, and you don't want grease to ever get into your brakes, obviously, because we're trying to make some friction there, not grease it up and lube it up. So a lot of important things to check there. As you're walking down the side of your trailer, have a look at everything else too. You've got some running lights down the side of it. You've got some marker lights there on your fenders. If you're hooking up to your tow vehicle, I always suggest just flipping your headlights on, turning your four-way flashers on, and you can get a real good idea of the functionality of your lighting system and what kind of connection you've got, or if you're going to have any problems. Working our way around to the back of the trailer, obviously going to be very similar on a bunch of different style trailers, and if you have a ramp, obviously check those connections as well. But we've got a couple connection points at this rear door. So we want to make sure we're pinned securely. Obviously, I always give everything a nice big tug. Have a separate connection here. This is a very typical cam lock style latch. It's used on a lot of semis. It's used on a lot of big trailers, and ton of different styles. Very reliable system. And again, you get an added little safety with these, and there's no reason not to use something like that to make sure that you've got a closed door. You're never going to have any kind of unlatching or anything like that. So take just a quick look inside of this trailer. If we have a lot of straight load trailers, we want to make sure we've got our butt bars up. We want to make sure they're not swinging or banging on if you've only got one horse in the trailer and the opposite is empty. You want to make sure with any kind of slant load trailer, a lot of manufacturers actually really request it or suggest it, that you have those always locked up and in the latch position when you're traveling. Same with this trailer. We are a single cut gate in this guy, so we've got the option to pin this one on the wall, on the passenger side wall, and then we can unpin it. Nice connection there. Good to go down the road. This little trailer is pretty simple, really nice for us to ensure that we're good to go down the road. We've got everything latched up and we're safe. Another thing, part of your yearly inspections, depending on your usage, keep an eye on your floors. Even the aluminum trailers with the rubber mats, we suggest pulling those out once a year, doing a good pressure wash on them, getting a good look at them, and keeping an eye on them. Good housekeeping, don't leave some wet shavings, urine-soaked shavings in here. That's our #1 cause for corrosion on the insides of these trailers, is that urine is very acidic. So a really good way to counteract that is with some baking soda. Once you pull these out, wash them out, make sure everything is good. Get yourself, even for a trailer this size, a box or two. Be generous with it and sprinkle it down there, and that'll counteract it quite a bit too. So a little bit about safety. That's not so much the pre-trip. You're certainly not going to want to pull your mats every time you take off, but good thing to keep in mind. And like we say, good housekeeping really goes a long way with maintaining a lot of these trailers, the insides of them as well. So back side of the trailer, we've got tail lights both sides. We've got some LED marker lights along the top rail required by the DOT. And then we do have a provision there for our license plate and a light for that as well. Big thing is check your turn signals, check your brake lights, and make sure even when all of those lights are off, and that when you have your running lights on and your headlights on in your tow vehicle at night, that you've got lighting back here that's going to show, that's going to show people where you are and they can see you. All these modern day trailers now are doing LED lights, so really nice. Only disadvantage to the LEDs, wintertime like right now, is they'll get covered with snow. They won't melt off like the old incandescents, so make sure you wipe them off if you're heading down some snowy roads. Hopefully you don't have to haul in that, but every once in a while we get in a spot where we have to. Driver's side, really the same thing. Driver's side, passenger side, depending on the trailer, depending on the layout, you're gonna have your tack room doors, you're gonna have some escape doors. With this, we've got that added latch for our center cut gate as well. And really it just is about doing one good lap around your trailer. I suggest starting over there on your passenger side, walking around down along your truck, taking a look at your chains, taking a look at what we talked about on the opposite side of the trailer. Then you get back to the back, you check all your latches back here. You get up on here on your driver's side, same checks with those tires and wheels and lug nuts. You've got the marker lighting as well. And as you do that lap around, you get a good look along the trailer. We've got an escape door on this side of the trailer. If you want to do one last check of your stock before you get in there, you can do that in really nice way to ensure as you're walking around the trailer for the last time before you hit the road. I know every latch I passed before I get to the driver's seat of my truck is latched. Can check on our tack room. A few little things I would say in the tack room, depending on what you're hauling, depending on what you're moving. Make sure you don't have a big trunk that's gonna fall over and block your tack room access or something like that. I really like to have a couple halters and shanks at very easy access to the front of this tack room. Even if you've got them wearing them in the stall area, nice if they break something, nice if you come along somebody else that's in need, you have that easy access to it. Just always being prepared, especially hauling down the roads. There's a lot of crazy drivers out there too, so drive defensive. Again, with the tack room, you know, use a bit of common sense as you load your room, obviously, and be smart about where you're hanging things and how you have it organized so that you have that easy access to stuff and so stuff's not falling all over the place and you don't want to dent the sides of your trailer inside your tack room or anything like that. So again, getting around, I've checked 3/4 of my trailer now. I've got all my doors latched for sure. On this trailer, it's actually perfect timing in the safety. We've got our spare right here on the nose. Nice matching spare on this trailer too. So you have that. Always check when you're checking the pressure on all 4 of your tires on the ground, check your spare too. If you need that spare and it's only got half the PSI it needs to, that's not gonna do you a whole lot of good, especially on a hot summer day on the interstate if you're hours from home. So check your spare, make sure that's good. Make sure you always have the tools to take that spare off. It's not always, we try to make it that way, certainly with our new trailers, but if you're buying used or if you have used, make sure you have the ability to take your spare off of where it's mounted. So checked our whole trailer, we looking good going down the road. We hitched up, we did everything. Have one last look at it. As you walked around the trailer, you stopped looking at it, you can walk away from it, check everything else. Have one last look at that hitch, make sure you've got everything latched as it should be, and you're good to go down the road, and hopefully you'll have a really safe hauling experience. And like I said, take it slow, take it easy. If you're a first-time trailer, if it's first time putting your own horse in the back of your trailer, my biggest suggestion is drive like it's a snowy winter day. No big changes, no fast movements, and you'll be good to go. I know we talked about this trailer being videoed before. If you're very interested in this trailer specifically, Michaela did an awesome walk around to this, so you can reference it with this stock number, 5U241-539. If you have any questions about trailering, if you have any questions about your tow vehicle, if you're very interested, we have a lot of bumper pull stock on the lot right now and a lot of other inventory as well, new and used. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is luke.sullivan@transwest.com. My cell phone, call me or text me if you want, 859-509-1282. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope you're staying warm. Thanks. Have a nice day.